Hey there, this is Katherine, and I am going to make a couple of cards today. I'm using some products from Jaded Blossom. I used these two card layer dies in another video. I was just showing you what they look like. They were a lot of fun. I'll link to that video below. I made a bunch of 4th of July cards using some photo play paper on that one. And then I also picked up these adorable jar sets. I made a jar card recently, and I told you I had a lot of jar stamps, and here is another one. I've been having my eye on this one for a while. It was sold out, and so I bought the jar set, the die, and there are some add-on stamps. So let's get started. I have stamped these jar and the lid in with my Gina K amalgam ink. I'm going to add strawberries to this. Where I live right now, it is summer and super hot, and so of course strawberries are a perfect choice for this time of year. They are ready to eat and enjoy. I'm going to take a second here and do some just pretty basic coloring with my Copic markers. I'm only using two colors, R24 and R27. I thought about a third color, but I thought the two were enough. So I'm just basically, the way I color, I've watched a few videos. Coloring is not really my best skill. I don't think. I enjoy it very much, but gosh, there's some amazing colorers out there, and I am not them. But what I'm doing is I'm just coloring, and then I'm kind of thinking, where would I maybe see a shadow? I don't worry about it too much. I always think, well, under the leaves, there would be a shadow, right? I don't know. But I just add it to that. And then I'm coming back around, and kind of where they overlap, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. I'm using that R27. So it just gives a little bit of shading. And again, I really don't worry about it too much. If I use my tri-blends, which have the 3 nibs from Spectrum Noir, of course, I will have a little bit more shading. And then also for the leaves, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I've just got a lighter color, and then the YG07, I think that is, and then YG09. I'm just coming back and adding just a tiny bit of shadow to it where the other strawberry might block the light a little bit. But I don't think too much about it, I'll be honest. And it turned out pretty cute, I think. Who doesn't love a jar full of strawberries? So I'm coming back in with B00, and I am just adding a little bit of very, very light blue to it to add just a little bit of highlight in that glass. Okay, now I'm pulling out some cool grays, C2, 4, and 5. I'm just doing some blending from the side. I'm going to leave a little bit of light in the middle and just add a little bit of shadows on the side. And that's going to be it for it. Just really quick coloring. I love to color stuff like that with grays. Grays are really fun to work with. You can get a lot of interest with those grays. Okay, now I'm going to run this through my machine. I've got my dies to do the top and the jar. And then we will work on assembling the card. Okay. So that turned out, I love a little jar full. I love the dimension, and I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put that lid. I've got some Sunny Studio paper that I have been enjoying, and I'm going to cut down a piece of the green, and then I will add I'm going to stamp, and then I've got a jar label from Stamps of Life that I'm going to use to cut out that Hello Friend. Okay, I'm going to stamp this Hello Friend, again, using the Gina K amalgam ink, and got a great impression. I didn't use my stamp press on that, but it turned out pretty good. I was lucky. I like to really use that stamp press now because it helps me so much, because sometimes I'm just not paying attention, and I'm looking at the TV or whatever. I usually keep maybe a little iPad or something on my desk, and sometimes I get distracted. So if I miss it the first time, then I've got the opportunity to fix it the second time. So I've got this going through my machine. I taped it down with a little bit of that blue tape from scrapbook.com. That paper tape, I really, really like it a lot. And now I am ready to assemble this card. I've cut that that pattern paper down a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put that lid. I love the lid. I've got a white card base, A2 sized, and before I do that, I want to add some twine. I like the red and white twine that I had in my stash. I thought it would work well with the brightness of the card and kind of pull it all together. So I've tied that around probably 4 or 5 times. I mean, if you have twine, you're probably going to have twine for the rest of your life. Seriously. I've had that twine forever. And I use it all the time. And it's just, it must be a gazillion feet. I have decided. I'm like, if I ever finish up twine, it will be unbelievable. I mean, I think I could probably make 500 cards and still have twine left. I mean, it is a great thing to have, and it lasts forever. Anyway, so I took, what I did is I tied that off. I took it and made another little bunch of it, and I'm just going to add that onto the card. I like to do this because the twine is thinner, and sometimes I want to make it a little bit thicker. So this is just kind of a little cheat way to get, instead of just having that one little single loop that kind of looks a little sad sometimes. If you want to have a little bit more volume, I like to do this, kind of make a bunch of it and then tie it on, and it just adds a little more oomph to the front. Now I'm sad I did not tape it. I glued down the pattern paper, and I popped up my lid to the right, and I used foam dimensionals for that. And now I have this cute jar of, I think it's called Tutti Frutti polyester sequins or something. And I'm going to add these little strawberries. It's this huge jar. You can see I've linked to it. I found it. They still have them online at Michael's. They have them in my local store. And I am loving the fruit. I think I actually bought 2 jars because I wanted to make sure I had plenty. So I'm just adding those cute little strawberries. They had a whole strawberry and then a slice of strawberry. Thought it tied it all together. So super cute. Okay, so we're going to go on and make a second card here. And I am going to start this by cutting out, I cut a piece of kind of cantaloupe color paper. There's this outer die, and then included in this set from Jaded Blossom, and then there's also the top piece that will allow you to make a shaker. What I'm doing here is I also use that outer die to cut a piece of acetate to create the shaker. So I'm going to let that dry. You can see that I've stamped a jar again, and this time I filled it with the lemon stamp, which is the different fruit that was included, and I have colored it now. I've got my, that acetate part is dry, and I am going to work on creating the shaker. So I've got these thin strips from Darice that I enjoy for shaker cards. It's great for this application. You could layer it twice if you wanted a little bit thicker shaker. Sometimes I do that if I've got a really thick, if I want to add really thick items to the shaker. Sometimes sequins can be a little bit thicker, I think, than these little thin pieces of the sequins that I'm using for Michael's. And so I'm just going to go around, glue that down, and then for that top piece, I will come back and add another strip to make sure that it is all uniform. And then I'll peel those off. And unfortunately, you'll see I've got some issues about to come up here. I do remember to put an anti-static tool to it. I'm going to lay out some of my embellishment mix. I think I put too much in there. I was so excited to use it. And I probably would have put a little bit less because I think it was a little full. But they were all so cute. And you can see there's so much fruit, and it looks amazing in person. And so I was trying to pick out a little bit, add a little bit more of the lemons. But I've also got that kind of grapefruit colored that works well with the cantaloupe paper of the shaker. So I thought that would kind of tie together. All right, so here's where I get off track a little bit. I'm going to peel off the strips, and then I realize I did it on the wrong side. Oops, see the glued side? You can barely see it. And so I glued it down to the wrong side. my strips. I wasn't paying attention. So the way I fixed this is off camera, I cut another piece of that cantaloupe shaker top. Instead of tossing it, I had to problem solve that. So I just glued another piece on top and my problem was solved. I'm sorry that I had to do it off camera. I thought I had taped it, but obviously I didn't. So the next step after I just peeled that off, glued it down onto my shaker pieces. And now I'm coming back with some twine to tie off on the top of that jar because you have a little bit of a gap at the top and I wanted to fill that, but I didn't want to stamp it. So I've gotten that shaker squared away and we averted having to start over. I was not going to start over, so I had to work the problem, as they say. I'm going to come in here with Happy Birthday dies from Diamond Press. These are in an auto ship package that I got, and I love how delicate they are. You can see that that machine just cuts like butter, the marquee. If you're not familiar with it, that's from Diamond Press as well. That's kind of my tabletop machine that I enjoy very much. I've got a piece of paper from the Buenos Dias collection by Obed Marshall, I think is how you say his name, at American Crafts. So that's where that yellow striped paper came from. And I'm going to use a little bit of foam to attach my shaker. And I love the way that it turned out. It's a little full. I probably went a little too crazy on it, but that's okay. It still shakes, just not quite as much as I would like, but it shakes pretty well. I'm going to use my Bearly Arts glue to glue down that beautiful birthday. And I decided to use black so it would really pop off of the page. There's not a shadow die with this die set, it's just the words. And so in order to see it, I decided to do black cardstock so it would really pop off the page. Okay. And I'm going to use a few more of these pieces. You can see in that one jar, you get literally a gazillion of them. And it's very reasonably priced. So if you're in your local Joann's, check it out. I have enjoyed it. They had some other shapes as well, but I definitely was focused on the fruit. Okay, I'm going to pick out, there's some of these that are sort of like lemons, but they've got a little pink edge to them. And I'm going to pull those out and adhere those with my glue. I'm going to go the other side as well. Keep my balance with the threes. And then I realized at the bottom, you'll see I'm going to have to fix another little problem with this card that I had. Happy accidents. They worked out okay. So I like that, but it just looked really odd at the bottom. So I pulled that one off. But of course, there is a glue dot stain. And I decided to come back with some of those kind of grapefruit colors that worked well with the paper. And I'm just going to fill those in using 3 of them. So I've still got my odd numbers and hopefully a somewhat balanced card. But I was so happy with how it turned out. The shaking is just so cute. Okay, so that's it on that. You can shake, it shakes a little bit. And that is that card. So let's recap what we got here. I made one with just the stamps and the dies, and then the other one with that additional die, which is included in the die set. You can turn this into a shaker. So I had a lot of fun with this. Be sure to check out the links below if you're interested, and I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. I appreciate you. Have a good day.